welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sunshine Zee, but you can call me Z, and if it's your first time here, you are welcome. And I do hope you like the content on this channel, and please feel free to leave a comment, like, or better yet, subscribe. The subscribe button is the red button at the bottom, and it's absolutely free. You don't pay anything to subscribe. We'd love to have you join the family. And for those who are returning, oh my goodness, I really appreciate you. I know I say this every video, but it's because I truly do appreciate you taking your time to watch and listen and engage. Please do be encouraged to engage some more. I'd love to hear from you, but otherwise I do hope that you are doing well. And yeah, let's get into today's video. To be honest with you guys, this is actually the second attempt at this video, more like the fourth, because I keep changing what I want to say. Yeah, I hope I get it right this time. The reason I didn't like the footage I shot, I didn't even view it. I just felt like it was a bit all over the place. I'm going to really try and not have it to be too all over the place. And I think that's the problem with telling a story, is that, you know, you're not sure exactly what structure. And I feel like when I first recorded it, I kept on going back and forth with the story. And I don't know, I felt like it might be confusing, so as a result I decided to redo it. So yeah, so anyways, I'm going to talk about myself. This is a bit of my personal journey, and I believe that this belongs on this channel. Yes, that means there's another channel. But I believe that this belongs on this channel because, as much as it's a personal story about my journey, but I feel like it falls under, like, sort of, not directly, but under personal development, and how I have developed and changed and evolved over the years. Now, I did mention that there's another channel. Those of you who've watched my video about YouTube would understand a little bit, maybe, about algorithms and things like that. So as a result, I decided to create a different channel, a separate channel, where I can have, you know, so all sorts of personal stuff like vlogs and things like that, so as to not mess up the algorithm of this channel, which is more educational. It's more talk channel, you know, so when I have other videos thrown in here, it kind of messes things up. So I will link the other channel in the description box. I do hope there's more than one video by the time I link it, because currently there's just one video, but I actually have lots of footage. I just need to edit it, guys. Editing, yeah, I think I've spoken about how I have such a love-hate relationship with editing, but yeah, I'll be sure to do that. Okay, so let's start the story from the very beginning, when I was born. I'm kidding, but if you do want to know when I was born on the 25th of May, so my birthday is coming up in a few days. I'm so excited. But anyways, no, I just I'll obviously start from my childhood, because that's where it all starts, hey. And when I was a child, I feel that I wouldn't say a quiet child, but yeah, actually, because I was described at school as a shy child. You know, I was described as shy, but you know, in retrospect, what that was me just really being very respectful. I didn't like to cause any trouble in class, and you know, I was just kind of, I kept to myself a little bit and didn't have like a whole lot of friends and things like that. So yeah, I feel like that's why people would have described me as shy, even in my teenage years, but I'll get to that part. And so I didn't speak much. I don't know, I didn't, you know, I didn't share my opinion a lot. And I think some people might relate to this, but how we were raised, you know, it kind of goes with how we were raised. I mean, sometimes, you know, I hang around with either my little siblings or my nieces or my friends' kids, and it's just, it's amazing to watch how they're able to express themselves and speak, you know, and we didn't have that. We didn't have that. It was so, I don't know, the era in which some of us grew up in, you know, you just sort of keep quiet. You're a kid, you're a child, what do you have to say? So you didn't share a lot of your opinions or even get to question as much as you'd want to question, you know. I don't know, but tell me if I'm wrong, you know, anybody who grew up in, like, I'm gonna give away my age, but in the 90s. Please tell me what your experience growing up was like, and if you think it actually had a lot to do with how you were as a kid, because I believe that it really did have a lot to do with how I was, and that's why I came into sort of this definition of being a shy child. It's because of the environment. It wasn't really safe enough for us to speak and to express ourselves. And that's why I'm saying that this is a story about how I found my voice, you know, but later on I lose it. So anyways, the most the most significant events of my childhood that I can remember, two events that made me, I don't know, that gave me an indication that I might not be shy. The first one being that we went to a Sunday school camp, and while at that camp, for some odd reason, I got grouped with I think two other girls. I can't remember if it was two other girls or three other girls, and those girls just didn't have much, you know, when you grouped and we were given a task to you know, get creative and render an item, you know, on stage. And like, it was like the big finale item, because you were grouped on Saturday, and on Sunday after the main service is when you guys get to go on stage as in your groups and render the item. And for some reason I get grouped with these girls who were just, they were not interested in leading, so I ended up leading the group and telling them what we were going to do. Now every child, I'm willing to okay, I wouldn't beat my knee, but I'm willing to say there's a good possibility that as a child you probably wanted to be a TV star. Admit it. You must have. Because as a kid, we all just want to be on TV, you know, a lot of us, let me just say it that way. So, I mean, now I'm leading this group of girls, and they are willing to do whatever it is that I tell them to do. So I guess that's where my leadership skills were also born. But as a firstborn, you kind of automatically, most firstborns that is, have some sort of leadership skills. Anyways, being the shy kid, but now being thrown into a group of other shy kids, my true personality came through, and I led the group, and I decided that we were going to render an item of, back in the day we used to call them the sketch, you know, like a drama, a skit, right? I think that's what you call it now. But it's a sketch. So that's what I decided we were going to do. They went along with it, and I came up with the whole plot, you know. I came up with the whole plot, and it was the prodigal son, but with a twist. You see, like, I got creative, guys, like. So anyways, that's what we did, and I played the main character, of course, like as the leader of the group, and they literally did not object to any of this, guys. They just went along with it, and that's what we did. And I remember after that, the little play that we put together, I remember some of my teachers saying, oh wow, we haven't actually seen that side of you, you know, you just sort of came alive on stage, you know. And I remember that feeling. It was just, I don't know, it felt like, wow, I can actually do this, you know, and perhaps it's not just like a dream to be like an actress. Perhaps I can actually be an actress. And I think that's where my, you know, my love for acting came from. And my storytelling voice as well came from that, because like I said, I literally came up with the whole plot, which was still the prodigal son, but like I said, with my own little twist in there. Right, so that was like the first sort of pivotal moment of me sort of discovering my voice and starting to suspect that perhaps I'm not shy, perhaps I'm just labeled as shy, but there's something about me that really kind of enjoyed being on stage and, you know, acting out and just having fun with it. The second moment was a couple of years later, my early teens. My family and I started going to this new church, and let me tell you, this church was an amazing church. It was very different from the traditional church that we had been attending prior to that. So this would be what you would define as a mega church, a mega church, right? It was held at a community hall. It was really like there was a lot of people who went to that church, and coming into that scene as a sort of pre-teen teenager, you know, so you're not 16, 17, 18, you're like 12, 13, 14. So it was like, it's that sort of odd age. I feel like it's an odd age because you don't exactly feel like a teenager. Your parents are not exactly treating you like a teenager. You don't, you know, I don't know, you're still sort of treated like a kid, but you're not a kid. So anyways, that's how we somehow landed up in this in the Sunday school class, which was not kids, but also not like the older teenagers. So the in-betweens, I guess. And sure, guys, I thrived in that environment. For some odd reason, I was cool. I don't know, they thought I was cool. I was even picked to take part in the Bible quiz. And you all remember, guys, we went all the way to Pretoria East. I'm from Pretoria West, right? So if you go to Pretoria East, like Menlo Park side, like that's the Lani places in Pretoria. So I'll never forget that. And you know, I don't know, it was fun. And again, I took on leadership roles. Sometimes I would be the one leading the class sessions and things like that. And so I don't know, like I had the time of my life there. Like really, it was so much fun. I had so many friends. Like I'm saying, I was the cool kid. And the incident that happened was that one year they decided that it was Mother's Day. So obviously Mother's Day, in most churches, the Sunday school kids will render an item. So like I said, because we were the in-between people, we didn't have an item to render. The little kids did though. So but they couldn't get a representative from the little kids because they were too small to speak. So guess who they asked to speak? Yours truly. And I accepted, and like I didn't even prepare. Okay, I think they told me on the Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, they told me on that day because I remember us actually practicing with the teacher just before going on stage, but I still had to go with my notes to go on stage and deliver the Mother's Day address. And as I said, mega church, so this is like hundreds of people. And we all walked up on stage, so that's the good part, is that I wasn't alone. So all the kids, even the Sunday school teachers, and then I was given the mic to speak. And I was obviously scared, I was obviously nervous, but I spoke. I actually spoke. And I remember that feeling once again of, I think this is what I'm meant to do. Somewhere, somehow, I think this is an indication of what I'm meant to do with my life. In that I felt at the time that I need to speak, you know. And because as much as it was terrifying, don't get me wrong, it was really, really terrifying, but I was able to deliver that address so beautifully. And, you know, I mean, even my own parents were like, you know, when we got home, they were like, excuse us, you know, was that you speaking so well, you know? And yeah, I think that's when I just realized that there's something about this, you know, that I just absolutely love. And I think that's when I had just found my voice. So now I had found my voice, right? However, I was still sort of living a double life in the sense that at school, and I was at high school at this point, I was still the shy kid. But like I said, it's not that I was shy. I always had something to say. Guys, like sometimes I'd be burning inside wanting to say something. But I think that statement of, oh, she's so shy, would hold me back. So that would pop up in my mind whenever I'd want to say something. Something would hold me back to say, you shy, remember that, you shy, you know, don't say don't say anything, you're a shy kid, you know. And yeah, so at school I was still like holding back quite a lot, but at least I had like sort of a creative outlet at church. I mean, I don't think there's any teenager who looked forward to going to church as I did, because I had a thriving life at church, and it was a lot of fun. And we did change churches to a smaller church, and I was a Sunday school teacher there. I love kids, by the way. So yeah, but yeah, that I think is how I basically found my voice. And later on, when I was in varsity, sure. Those were the years. I really came completely out of my shell. I embraced everything about, you know, the sort of creative that I felt that I needed to be at that time. But also what is interesting is that it's not a feeling of because, you know, I got involved in a lot of things. Like I once again found myself on stage doing all sorts of plays, narrations, monologues. Guys, it was an amazing time. But I didn't have a sense of this is what I want to do, like with my life, as in like change my career path. I still enjoyed the academics of being, you know, in varsity and studying what I was studying. I still enjoyed that. It was just, once again, a creative outlet that I had, and just had fun with it. And I think it was a good balance, you know, because then, you know, I didn't have to be like so serious all the time, you know, with my studies. Although probably if I had been serious, sorry mom and dad, but they know this. They know that I got involved in a lot of things. Didn't keep it a secret. But I must say, perhaps had I not done that, perhaps I would have excelled more academically. It's not that I wasn't doing well, but I was doing just well. I could have excelled had I not been doing all these other things. But they made me so happy. They really, really did. And like I said, an outlet, you know, just something for me to, I don't know, sort of be free with. And sure, if I go into just all the kinds of things that we got into, this video will be longer than it needs to be. But we just really had a lot of fun, creatively. We had a lot of fun. But it's interesting that it's at that moment that I am, you know, peaking in terms of, you know, embracing my creative side. It's at that sort of pinnacle moment that now it starts to go down slowly. And it was simply because when you're a young person, like, you know, late teens, early 20s, you're very impressionable. And you know, what people say to you at those, you know, in that stage of your life really sort of I don't know, you're so impressionable that it might make you change. And that's what started happening, is that people would make all sorts of comments. It's funny because some people would, reinforce the fact that, oh, you have a gift, or you should do that. Actually, that's when somebody said to me, you should join Toastmasters. When I was in varsity already, somebody said, you speak so well, you should be in Toastmasters. And so you've got other people affirming you, but at the same time you've got people who are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you embarrassing yourself? Why do you like being center stage? And it makes you very self-conscious, because you're like, oh, maybe I need to stop. And that's when I started sort of shrinking, because it was like, okay, maybe I need to stop doing this. Maybe I need to not be so out there, maybe get papa now, and I need to tone it down, and so that's sort of the start of me losing my voice again. And yeah, life comes at you also sideways. Like, there's a number of years where I don't know, like I was going through a lot. I was going through unemployment. I was going through, I think, trying to find myself, trying to find my place in the world. So this is like early 20s towards the mid 20s. And you're just not sure where you are. And, you're not sure what you want to do. And you had these big dreams and big goals, but none of that is happening. And you're just sort of thrown in the back somehow, I look at even when I joined a church. So I came back from Cape Town. I studied in Cape Town. I came back from Cape Town, came back home to Pretoria. And I found a church that I liked and everything. And at that church, no one knew me because I was an usher. And there's nothing wrong with being an usher, guys. I actually really enjoyed being an usher at that church, serving in the usher role. But I mean, it's very much in the background. It's nothing to do with being, at the front or center stage, which is what had previously happened in the other churches that I was involved in and all of that. So now I was like right at the back, nobody sees you. In retrospect, I realized that it was all part of the journey. It was the season I was in, but at the time, it quietened me down, I forgot all about, the stage stuff, the speaking stuff, all of that, I just sort of, I became quite humbled. And then entering into corporate, sheesh, even worse, because one of the things that you learn very early on in corporate, or just even maybe in other jobs, but I was mostly in corporate, what you learn is that you need to keep quiet. And that was actually just something that when I think back at it, I didn't realize what was happening. But I remember saying to myself, I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm not going to say anything, because you're not sort of allowed to express yourself. Not a lot of, especially, I'm talking more especially these sort of corporate organizations that have been there for years and years, I'm not talking about like maybe your startups or your small businesses or whatever. I'm talking about these corporate organizations where you're just a number, and if you open your mouth to give your little opinions, and it's not a good thing, and a lot of people kept saying to me, listen, you need to stop being so vocal. You need to stop being so vocal. But as life would have it, I would always find myself in some sort of thing, So I was always in the social committee. Always, guys. Almost every single year that I've worked, I was in the social committee. I would find myself in, I don't know, sort of like movements. I was always in something. You know, and that's why somebody said to me, you're an activist, basically, you know, because when I told them the stories about, you know, just my experiences, especially in the work environment, they were like, oh no, you're such an activist, you know. And that's the thing, I'm a passionate person, and I think, you know, what goes along with this gift of speaking and you know, creative expression is a passion behind it. You know, when I think about the monologue that I did with my two friends, but they played different characters, so it was monologues in terms of we were not our stories were different, and actually it was like three of us, and I remember this so well. Each one stood up and told their story, and I remember how I told the story, and this was Unobuhle. That was my character. I told the story from a place of passion. I was really passionate about the story of Unobuhle that I was telling, that I became Unobuhle. You know, in fact, after the performance, I remember some people saying, oh my God, did you go through that? You know, because Unobuhle went through some stuff. People were like, did you go through that? You know, because they were so convinced that this must have been coming from, you know, some place, you know, where I had been. And truly speaking, I'm a city girl. I'm from Pretoria. Unobuhle is from KZN. She's from a very cultured, very traditional type Zulu environment. Yes, I'm Zulu, but you know, so honestly, you know, but that's the thing, that's the passion that you use, that drives what you speak about. You can't just speak, you know, because you're speaking. And I'm sure you can even tell from, you know, the videos that you might have watched on this channel that whatever it is that I speak about, I feel very deeply about that. You know, I don't just speak about just anything, you know, that I don't, you know, believe in or that I don't know anything about. Well, I'm not an expert in all the things that I've spoken about, but those are things that I really feel deserve a voice, you know. And actually, it's coming to that, my YouTube video, I mean my YouTube channel is a creative outlet. Just in case you're wondering why did I do this, because I went on a journey without really realizing it. It wasn't a conscious thing, but I went on a journey to finding my voice, and that's where I am. I'm still journeying to finding my voice. So me joining Toastmasters, finally, you know, years after it had been recommended to me, you know, I finally joined the organization. And I remember even there, you know, performing my very first speech, and I remember having that same feeling that I had when I was delivering that Mother's Day address, that same feeling that I had when I was, you know, at that camp, the same feeling that I had when I did my first monologue, the first, you know, that same feeling when I first stood in front of the church. I remember with my friends, we were doing some sort of an advert, and you know, it's the same feeling, and that's the feeling of this is what I'm meant to do, you know. Because with your career, I mean, and I don't hold anything against careers. I mean, I love my career, and you know, I'm looking forward to getting back into that. I think you do it and you get good at it, and you know, it's just about you know, like putting in the effort and just having that good work ethic. You're gonna do well, and it pays the bill, right? Pays the bills, so that's okay. But this, at least with this, I have that confirmation in the inside of me that says you're meant to do this. This is what you're supposed to do with your life. And that's why I'm really convinced that I'm meant to speak. I'm meant to have platforms such as this channel to speak to people, because there's something about it that makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do. So let me not drag this any longer than I have to. But yeah, come along with me on my journey. And that's why I keep asking for engagement. I love engaging with people. I appreciate getting to know whether it makes a difference or not. I don't do it so that it can. Yeah, but I actually do. I'm lying. I do it so that it can make a difference to at least one person. It doesn't have to make a difference to everybody, but at least one person. If one person can hear me and it can help them think differently, it can help them decide differently, or it can encourage them, then I would have done what I'm meant to do here on earth. It's one of the things. So yeah, if you've reached the end of this video, really, like, you are a true subscriber, but perhaps you were just drawn in by the storytelling. You see, I know how to tell stories. But yeah, I really appreciate you reaching this point. Please do share with me your journeys and whatever it is that you might want to add to this conversation. I look forward to hearing from you. Until my next video, thank you so much for watching. Please do take care. Love and light to you all. Load shedding.